Are you ready to get your feet wet? Because this is the Knowledge Pool, hosted by Gathering Information. We're here to bring you a casual conversation between friends about everything to do with collecting, trading, and playing Magic the Gathering.
I am Tams.
I am Steph.
And I am Laura.
So put on your bathing suits and dive right into the Knowledge Pool. Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Knowledge Pool.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
Not bad. Hi guys.
Hi.
How's it going all around?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I am Steph, of course, and with me is Tams.
Hi.
And Laura.
Hello.
So we are here to talk about... What are we talking about? I'm not the one with the show notes.
We're going to talk about magic, and we're also
Things.
going to say hello a lot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 18.
We're just so excited to be close to 20.
Well, I mean, yeah, because close to 20 means close to 26, which is half a year,
Wow.
I guess.
I mean, that was a
That
bit
was
of
a
a stretch.
It was a bit of a walk.
We're only like 2 months off, I guess, so we've been going for 4 months. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
I mean, I did mention that last
week, yeah.
But
Right.
don't mind us.
We'll be counting up for the next, I don't know.
20 years or so.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, first up in the news, Tams, take it away.
This is unusual, isn't it?
I know.
We're
it's
scraping
great.
the bottom of the barrel as
For
far as news goes.
yeah,
Wow.
because basically there are spoilers. But there was a tiny bit of a rumbling in the magic community this week. As most people probably know, Pride was upon us a few days ago. And on Wizards' main site and also their Facebook page.
I only know of their Facebook page.
Okay, so we'll just go with their Facebook page. They changed their normal Planeswalker symbol to be a rainbow Planeswalker symbol, and they mentioned that they would be participating in Seattle Pride.
So, I think all of that is fairly normal for a business.
Yeah.
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 I personally think it's fantastic, but there was a discord amongst other members who thought that this was either pandering or exploitation of the LGBTQA plus community.
Now, when we say other members, it was really only a couple of people that I saw, one in particular, and to be honest, I get where they're coming from, but I had to throw up a comment myself and just say, look, I understand where you're coming from, but Wizards is one of the good guys.
And here's where I stand on this, because this is something that is actually near and dear to my heart. As society progresses, companies have to follow suit. And yes, sometimes some companies are slower than others to get on the bandwagon, but that doesn't mean that it isn't genuine, coming from a genuine place of wanting to do better. They have, Wizards came out and they said in the thread something to the effect of they have a company group of LGBT employees that get together and they're represented in the company and they just want to start doing their part to make people in that community more visible and accepted by, starting to put them in cards. And some people are like, well, that's just jumping on the bandwagon. But the thing is, if you haven't, this kind of thing is just becoming the norm in the last 10 or so years.
Oh, yeah.
Before that, it just wasn't. And so any company that was made before 10 or 15 years ago probably never talked about this kind of thing. So the fact that some people are slow to get started, okay, but they're doing it. So
Yeah, I mean, getting off topic a little bit, that's how Subaru revved up their marketing campaign. They did very, very smart, targeted ads that were coded to people who are in the LGBT community.
yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why they are still very popular car brand in people in that community, just because they were the first major advertiser who was that opening and accepting of it and actually targeted them specifically and were like, we like you guys, we want your money, please come to us if you're going to be buying a car.
I need to look into that because I was not aware of that at all.
Yeah. And I mean, yes, you can absolutely make a case for sure it's picking somebody that is underrepresented in the business and targeting and we can get the money. But I like to think, maybe I'm very naive, but I like to think that in some way there is good behind these kinds of actions anyway.
I mean, one of the things that we kind of forget when we talk about companies as entities, they are just entities made up of employees.
Yeah.
And, probably, according to statistics, at least 10% of them probably self-identify as being in the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, now that we're actually talking about it, I realize that this in itself could have been a main topic. Because inclusion in gaming is, I think, a good topic, and it's one that Wizards is fairly good about, or has been in the last few years at least.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they had, Alicia, they had Narset, Alicia, who's generally known as being a trans character, and Narset, who's generally known as being a neuroatypical character.
They've also they have, to certain degrees of success or failure, been trying to actually represent the cultural where they pull their planes from in a sensitive way to actually represent people. I mean, Kaladesh being a big example of that.
Yeah.
Sure, and it makes sense because they are a global company.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell their products in some of these countries.
Yeah, and I respect what a good job they have done. Yes, they've fallen down in places, but when most of their team, let's say with Kaladesh, they're not all from where it's from. And I think they did a pretty good job. Like, we saw the breakdown they did. Was it on Loading Ready Run?
Yeah, Loading Ready Run had a, I can't remember his name, but an culturally Indian game reviewer on to talk about the inspiration for Kaladesh and Aether Revolt.
Yeah, and the hits and misses and that kind of thing.
And that's really fascinating if you want to go and have a look at that. It's real good on their Tap Concede.
It really also reiterates, because as he's talking about, for him to look at this image, and we don't get everything that he gets, because he's like, oh my gosh, this is this from this that really means something to me in my culture, and it's really cool to see this represented. Whereas we just look and go, oh, that's really pretty art.
Yeah.
So these are, places that aren't often represented in, especially North American mainstream kind of stuff.
For sure.
And they've been doing a good job of representing everything from the cultures they steal from, steal from, to the LGBT members of their staff, having some influence on the way the cards are built.
Yeah.
And we've seen this year players coming out and...
Mr. Huey Jensen, for one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Famously.
And even our local game store, I feel, has become more a friendly place just to everyone in general.
Very inclusive.
Very inclusive.
Absolutely. There's no tolerance policy, which is beyond what I ever expected out of a store.
We also have a language policy.
Yeah, which is also...
Because there's kids who play in the store.
Fantastic. Because really, I mean, a business is business, sure. But when you get together with a group of people and you all become friends, it could be very easy to be lax about things.
Sure.
But I always feel very respected if I come with a concern or a question. And to have a safe space for all ages to actually get to play is really awesome. Because we have a really young kid playing, I don't know, 11, maybe 12?
Yeah, in our
Who's
league.
in the league.
Yeah, and he was great. And it was really fun to have that.
And one of our store regularly brings his son, who is also around that age.
Yeah, so it's really great.
So, apparently we're doing this all out of order.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was number one on the list.
That was basically the only news other than it's spoiler season for Hour of Devastation.
Lots and lots of spoilers.
Sure.
Is that what we want to go into next?
That sure is.
All right.
Well, as of our last podcast,
So last Wednesday when we recorded.
the third god was not yet spoiled.
Yeah, and we were speculating about whether it would be like a creature that interacts with -1/-1 counters when it enters the battlefield to kind of complete the cycle.
And
It's not.
apparently
really.
that's not the case. So I don't know why.
I thought it would probably be a beetle or something like
Yeah,
that.
we were
so I'm
thinking insect.
So I'm just going to say Scarab God.
Not far off.
Yeah, and after it was spoiled, I was like, oh, duh.
Well, duh. Yeah.
I mean, I think maybe just the way that they spoiled the things in the particular order that they did, which made the possible pattern so obvious for us.
Yeah.
It probably just wasn't something they'd even considered, because I'm sure they, going in, had an idea of what they wanted everything to do. So
Probably.
I'm sure that's just why it doesn't complete the quote-unquote cycle.
So, do we want to talk about the Scarab God?
Yeah.
Sure.
So, he is 3 blue-black, so completing the Grixis triad.
Yes.
For a 5/5 legendary creature god at Mythic. At the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses X life, and you scry X. where X is the number of zombies you control.
So,
Interesting.
I mean,
he is not
does
himself
not
a
count.
zombie.
Yeah. But blue and black... In this set particular, white has a lot of zombies, but black certainly is one of the main colors for it.
Yeah.
That's really interesting that he's not a zombie, and neither are the other gods. Like, they were supposed to have been slain.
Well, they're gods. Gods don't have types, right?
Sure, well, they have type god. I just think there's room on the card, and it would have been interesting to see
Yeah,
zombie
but then
god.
Oketra should have been a cat god, and
No.
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that's fair.
What else does he do?
He has another ability other than the...
Like, you
when
need more than that.
Yeah, right? A 5/5 for 5 is just fine on its own. Plus, zombies are not hard to come by. Mm-hmm. But if you want more than that, for 2 blue-black, you can exile target creature card from a graveyard and create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 4/4 black zombie.
So it's... What's the new embalmed thing?
Eternalize.
It's Eternalize on a stick.
He eternalizes something.
And
And if the eternalize cost is greater than 4, then, like, if it is an eternalized creature, you might just want to do this instead. Right?
and adding extra sweetness is the A graveyard
Yeah.
point.
Oh,
so
I didn't even...
Please, I would like to exile all of your embalmed,
Your
and
embalmed
eternalized
creatures,
creatures
exactly.
and aftermath cards.
That's gross.
I know, right? And then let's not forget, in case people have forgotten, the last part of the card.
Right, so when one of these 3 gods dies, you return it to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step.
So there is no cost or nothing you have to reach in order to have it be live, and it just comes back to your hand if somebody kills it.
Unless your opponent also has one of these and creates their own copy whilst exiling yours.
Fair enough.
Again, or uses some sort of instant speed graveyard exiling effect like Scarab Feast, which is a possibility, but I mean, it's about as likely as you having one of these in the first place, so.
Yeah.
So, first thing, I'm not the first person to say this, but this looks sweet in Commander.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I want to build...
This is value.
Yeah. So much.
Especially because if he is your commander, and he goes to the graveyard, and you choose to allow that, and then he goes back to your hand, there is no commander tax involved in this.
This is true. So yeah, you can just replay your commander at any time.
If your opponents then try to exile it, you can then return it to the command zone.
Yeah, there's literally no downside there.
Nope.
So that looks pretty sweet. Of course, it's going to be awesome and limited. Just a 5/5 for 5 alone would be fine, and then
Colossipede is like my most favorite vanilla card from Amonkhet.
right,
So.
sure, and that's in one color, but
But it is in the color that generally gets these things. Blue does not often get 5/5s for 5.
no, not without
Without can't attack unless you have the
Yeah.
X, or can't block unless you have...
without being a serpent or whatever. So yeah,
All in all, I would be thrilled to see this in a sealed pool or in my limited draft. As unlikely as it is, but yeah.
I don't know. There have been gods floating around.
Boy,
League,
howdy, have
so,
there. Yep.
We haven't curated these at all. What else do we want to go over?
They also
specifically?
talked about, or there's the new many desert cards.
All right, let's go over that.
Let's go down to the deserts. Maybe I need to
Laptops are hard to control.
have a mouse.
There we go.
All right, so we've got 2 cycles of deserts. Yep.
So we did talk about the first one, which is the cycling deserts, because those had been released last time.
Yep. Those look eminently playable.
Yeah, exactly. You'll play a land that cycles all the time, every time. Like, we're currently still playing the tap lands that cycle, even if they're only half on color. Like, you'd still play that most of the time.
Yeah, and this is basically that.
Yeah. So, the new cycle, though, also just one color, or, well, one color effects anyways. All of them tap for colorless, and then all of them have a pain ability.
So you can pay a life, tap it, and add the color of its color.
Which is important. Like, the ability to have it just tap for the color you need it to, when you need it to, kind of negates the downside of having a colorless land in your deck.
That's true, because they don't enter tapped. So, you're not paying that tax of the cycler lands.
Yeah.
These remind me a lot of the cycle from, I'm going to say, Battle for Zendikar, that have abilities.
Oh, like, like Mirror Pool and...
Not Mirror Pool.
And the Ruins of Orn Reef and...
No, those are all the colorless ones.
Oh, you mean the ones that enter tapped with the color that, like, Teetering Peaks and...
Yeah, from original Zendikar. You know, they're another one of those. So each of these has an ability, too, that you can pay some amount of mana, tap it, and sacrifice it to give a benefit.
Yeah, so the important part of that is that it gets a desert into your graveyard, which is often relevant.
Mm-hmm. As we've noticed last week.
Yes, plus it allows your lands to still have some form of relevance late game. Like, even just in Amonkhet, sometimes you'll play Cradle of the Accursed.
Yeah.
Or something like that if it happens to synergize well with your deck.
It's like a free crappy spell. And in this case, even more free because you can tap them for colored mana.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, some of these I'm noticing are going to mess up combat.
Oh, yeah. Well, some of them...
And it's easy to forget.
That's true. So, like, the white one, it's 2 white, tap it, sacrifice a desert. So it doesn't even have to be this desert.
Oh, again, I misread that. Wow.
Yeah, because these are all deserts. And then creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn, but you can only activate it as a sorcery. But a land that allows you to use a land, whether it's this one or another one, to anthem your creatures for a turn.
Sure. So that's actually...
In white?
Yeah, really strong, because unlike usually when you have a pay mana, tap, and sacrifice this... That means you can't add its mana to the mana cost, you know? Mm-hmm. But in this case, you can.
Well, not really, because you still have to tap it as part of the cost.
Right, but you can sack a desert that you've tapped for mana.
Yes, absolutely.
So you're not paying that extra cost. It's really just the 5 mana instead of 4 mana plus... Or... Nah.
Yeah, 4 mana instead of 4 mana plus?
Well, it allows you to use one of the lands that you have tapped to pay the ability to sacrifice that instead of an untapped land.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so for example, the blue one, same thing, except it's 1 in a blue, tap it, sacrifice a desert. Target player puts the top 4 cards of their library onto their graveyard at any time. This is an instant speed one. So, not necessarily great, although it would be funny if you just had, like, 23 of these and you were mono blue. Because it's so cheap.
But also, I mean, there are implications of this if they are scrying or, you know, things like that.
Or approach of the second sun.
I'm sitting here thinking, so how does that work if they've second sunned it?
And then they've played an Naga Oracle, and now you're like, oh, I would like you to mill that card, please.
Yeah, that's
going to mess that up.
That's way hard.
Yeah, or there's, you know, suddenly you're milling yourself, get a desert into the graveyard, and possibly an embalmed creature or an eternalized creature, and you're not wasting the value.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this is the Sheffet Dunes, the Ipnu Rivulet.
And now we're on to...
Ifnir Deadlands.
Of course, because it's black, so Ifnir.
Right. So this one is 2 black, and tap and sacrifice a desert to put 2 -1/-1 counters on target creature and opponent controls. And are they all sorcery speed? No, this one is sorcery, and the white one was sorcery speed.
Yeah, so again, it's interesting. It works well in the color, because black is the one that has most of the -1/-1 counter synergies.
This seems pretty okay, especially if you can sack another thing and reuse
so
it.
It kind of turns your deserts into Splendid Agonies.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, it is target creature, so it's a single thing. You can't spread them out.
But Hexproof. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then the red one.
Ramunap Ruins is 2 red for deals 2 damage to each opponent.
Instant speed.
Interesting. So I can actually see... Yeah, I'm probably going to put one of these in my Goblin Commander deck.
Sure.
Because it doesn't come in tapped, which is what mono-red aggressive decks usually hate in a land. And it does something very relevant.
Yeah.
So yeah, that looks fine. It's a shock.
Yeah, it's fine. And honestly, if you're, you know, a 2-color deck and one of those colors is red, it might just give you that little bit of end game that you need.
That how many times have you gotten your opponent down to 2 and you're like,
Or 1.
I can't push
You're
through
like,
that last
why doesn't
damage.
Magma Spray go to the face?
Yeah.
Or even 4, because again, you can sack a desert,
Yeah.
so maybe you have 2 of them.
Yeah, it's a little bit of flexibility, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we have Hashep Oasis, which for 1 green gives target creature +3/+3 until end of turn, but you can only do that as a sorcery.
So, but the thing is that a lot of green things have trample in this set.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So, the fact that it's a sorcery speed is definitely not as good as if
It
were
it
instant,
also,
but
if you're up against somebody with something huge and you have a fight card or something, you can add that to your creature.
destined to lead.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, it seems
It makes it
playable.
very difficult to just straight up remove your stuff. Or,
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's practically free.
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely.
So, I don't know why you wouldn't run this in a green deck.
I think I probably would run. I don't know about the blue one necessarily.
Yeah, the blue one you'd probably want to
Situation.
have specific reason to run it.
Yeah.
But each of the other colors seem like if I'm in that color, I'll just throw it in.
But yeah.
So that's pretty
Even
cool.
if you don't necessarily have Desert's energy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's... I really like this cycle of utility lands. A lot of times they suck. I think that these are generally useful.
Yeah. Or usually, like, one of them is good and the rest suck.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And it seems like, in this case,
Like in the Battle
Most
for
of them
Zendikar
are
example,
fine.
the red one was quite good.
yeah.
The blue one
Blue
was
terrible.
alright.
Well,
You'd sometimes... If you were playing blue, you were doing it wrong anyway, but...
yeah.
Well, no, blue was fine, but...
So, what else did we want to look at? I'm actually interested. There's a vertical cycle. Torments. The cycle of torments. I'm going to have to sort this by
Color?
number
Fair
so
enough.
that I can see. So, a horizontal cycle is 1 in each color. And a vertical cycle is 1 at each of the rarities, so common, uncommon, and rare. Usually mythic is not included in that, just because it's like mythic or rare. Mm-hmm. So we've got torments, which they don't even share a type. They're just all called torment of. So at common, there's Torment of Venom, which is 2 black for an instant. Put 3 -1/-1 counters on target creature. Its controller loses 3 life unless he or she sacrifices another non-land permanent or discards a card. So,
Well, 4 mana, put 3 -1/-1 counters. You'd probably play that at instant speed if you were looking for removal.
Sure.
I think so. And then the rider of, 3 life, sack a permanent, or discard a card is just kind of
Added bonus.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is it gives your opponent the choice, but sometimes they don't
Sure,
have a
but at
choice.
least they're all choices that they don't want to have to make.
It's true.
Yeah, they'll choose the least bad for them, but that doesn't mean, like, again, you said 3 -1 counters for 4 mana you'd probably run, and it's instant speed.
Yeah.
At uncommon, we've got the Torment of Scarabs, which is 3 and a black for an enchantment or a curse.
Those are fun.
Enchant player. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, that player loses 3 life unless he or she sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card.
I like that
So,
one.
that one's, if you're trying to go for a late game type of grind fest in black, that
Yeah.
seems like the kind of card you'd play.
Yeah,
Yup.
like, the curses are almost never great.
They're fun.
They are fun, and the fact that you can build a cursed deck makes me happy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to play cards that affect you.
And you know darn well if you play this on somebody, they're going to be shaking their fist at you.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
just
that's
it's
annoying.
Yeah, very annoying.
And as we noticed,
I don't know
this-
how good it is.
hey,
but
we noticed this evening, whatever the card we were playing against, that every time you cycle causes your opponent to lose 2,
Faces
you
the
game
heck,
2.
Yeah.
We were like, I'm not worried about this, ha ha ha, and we got absolutely stomped
Well,
by
the
it.
problem
To be
is
fair,
that-
that deck was very good.
I mean,
Absolutely.
most of the colors just don't have ways to deal with enchantments.
That's true.
They have a lot of ways to deal with artifacts.
That's true.
Sure, and the thing is, if you play this on your opponent, that's like hitting them in the face for 3 with a spell every turn, or they're sacking something. And
It's like, I kind of want to run these in a deck with, Cruel Reality. and be like, this on 4, and then Cruel Reality on 7, and be like, what you gonna do?
And then what's the other black enchantment that's super expensive that makes them lose life unless they sacrifice a creature or
That's Cruel
planeswalker?
Reality.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
So mean.
Yeah, just eventually they have nothing on board, nothing on hand, and they're slowly losing life, or quickly losing
Yeah,
life.
that one is actually a win condition. I don't think this one really is, because they're going to be able to, well...
Non-land permanent.
Yeah, maybe it is just
I think
good.
that
guess
makes
we'll
the
find out.
difference.
Yeah.
They can't just pitch a land.
So at Rare, we've got a sorcery with an X in the cost. And
Woohoo!
Always good.
I usually love those.
Yeah.
So X black sorcery. Torment of Hailfire.
Oh boy.
Repeat the following process X times.
So if you pay 3 mana, you repeat it once. Well,
Yeah.
or in other words, I assume you just play
do
it
it once, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. So that's apparently what Torment means in Magic, which I'm okay with.
So the funny thing is, for 3 mana, you have them do that once.
Sure.
For like 6 mana, you have them do it 4 times.
Yes.
That's gross.
That is gross.
Read the flavor text. I think it's absolutely lovely.
Oh yes, and there's flavor text on all of these. For Torment of Hailfire, your God Pharaoh has returned. So this is
That's
apparently
flavorful.
how Bolas greets his subjects.
And of course, the artwork is an actual fact photo of Nicol Bolas coming down from the heavens with his arms open in hailfire.
Yeah,
He's just looking for a hug.
Yeah.
that actually is art that I would like on a playmat.
It's
Gorgeous, isn't
very
it?
nice.
Yeah.
Torment of Scarabs looks to be someone walking out of a sarcophagus or possibly shielding themselves from the scarabs inside the sarcophagus.
Yeep.
Like a carpet unrolling for their god, the scarabs poured out of the necropolis,
Yeek.
which
It's
is
creepy.
super icky and gross. And then for Torment of Venom, the scorpion god's sting sends venom strong enough to poison blood, bone, and spirit.
Dum,
So
dum,
it
dum.
slowly gets worse as you go up the rarity counter. So
Yeah.
I think we can all agree Torment of Hellfire seems like the finisher that Black deserves.
Yeah.
I am
It's the finisher Black
Like,
Wands, I'll tell you that.
If you cast it for 6 mana, you're happy.
very...
If you are flooding out and you draw it later and you cast it for like 8 or 9,
You're laughing.
you win the game.
You're cackling.
By that point.
Yeah, because, like, it's not choose to discard a card, oh, I have no cards in hand, I guess I don't have to. No, if you don't have cards to discard, you have to choose one of the other options.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you're out of non-land permanents, which means you're out of creatures and probably losing anyway, then you have to take a bunch of damage.
So,
Yeah.
so it'd be pretty cool to run this with the
with the other
torments. Yeah.
I'm considering it. Like, okay, so Torment of Hailfire, the rare, is X black. The other 2 are 4 mana. So assuming that they're all meant to be 4 mana, even doing this twice seems fine.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's pretty cool.
All right.
Anything else you
What
wanted
else?
to go
Actually,
over?
there's another black card that I want to mention. It's Razaketh, the Foul-Blooded.
Interesting name.
He is the demon that Liliana has been searching for.
Oh dear.
In fact, the flavor text, Liliana insisted on coming to Amonkhet to confront one of the 2 remaining demons to whom she is bound.
Yes.
Now, I don't know. I don't remember the one from Origins very well. It was the...
What's his face?
Yeah, what's his face?
Yeah.
But we all remember greatly with great
Of course.
love.
Mr. G.
Mr. G, Big G, Grizzlebrand from Avacyn Restored,
Something like that.
I love him.
who was
Cube favorite.
yeah
Near and dear to my heart.
a 7/7 who you could pay 7 life to draw 7 cards.
Yes.
Who cost 8 mana, which wizards, like, they don't look at these things when they're building them and say, oh, this is a bunch of 7s, we should keep it all the same. They look and say, this needs to be 1 more expensive, we're going to make it 1 more expensive.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, dude, what's up with the 8 mana? Shouldn't it be 7? To which I say it should have been
like
black,
14.
black, 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 black.
Sure.
Not
Not that you wouldn't cheat it into play
that's
at that point
the
anyway.
only way people are playing it anyway. But Razaketh here, the Foul-Blooded, is 5 black, black, black.
Sounds
so
familiar.
8 mana for an 8/8.
Wow, he's bigger than
With
Daddy
flying
G.
and trample. Well, you know, she's gotten more powerful. I think she can take him.
I see.
He's a legendary creature demon with flying and trample, and you can pay 2 life and sacrifice another creature to search your library for a card and put that card into your hand. Then shuffle your library.
I desperately want this card in my league pool. I will do it. I will go all in. I will play mono black.
I'm like, this is pushing me to want to do mono black. If nothing else, it's going in my Omnixilus commander deck.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
right? Because I have lots of ways to get things out for cheap
In Commander,
anyway.
tutors are amazing. And this
I
guy
know.
tutors for basically
And you're
free.
like, please, I would like to sacrifice creatures because I'm in black.
Let me just equip this skull clamp first.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he seems really good.
I
mean,
am super excited.
He seems terrible in limited.
Probably.
Oh yeah.
In draft, you probably are wrong to play him, even though you will have fun.
I'm still taking.
I'm still first picking him.
Of course you are. We all are.
Because we're horrible people.
I think the art, it's a little hard to see, but I think
It's
he's
actually
like a
pretty-
crocodile demon.
It's pretty remnant of the Grizzlebrand art. Like, it has the same kind of color palette.
Has the same, not the same pose, but the same kind of pose.
The wings. And,
Almost an anti-hero pose.
Wow.
But he does kind of remind me of Mumra from Thundercats.
Oh, jeez. All right.
All
Anything
right.
else?
I've had enough fun in black. Well, we could talk about how in Hour of Glory. Are we going to talk about the hour cycle?
We might as well, 'cause I don't think we did much beyond mentioning it.
Okay, then I will absolutely go back to cycles. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, that makes it... Wait. Really? Alright, I guess we're going back to... No.
Let's watch Step trying magic.
Except they can't watch it, they have to listen.
It's
All right.
very exciting.
I know, right? So excited.
There you go.
Oh, they haven't spoiled the red hour.
So it can't
That's
be
right.
a cycle,
Okay.
yeah.
I've heard some people speculating that it's probably just a deal X damage, but the funny speculation is that it's a threaten effect, because that's all that red gets.
Okay.
But that would be terrible, because you literally would need to win the game, or else you would lose the game.
Well, we'll probably... Maybe we'll do a short video on it on the YouTubes then or something. But there is the defeat cycle, or did we talk about those?
Yeah,
already?
we did talk about that one.
Okay.
So for the hour cycle, though, they have spoiled 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So far, they seem not great.
I don't know. Well, yeah. They seem not great, but they are the story cards, and they seem flavorfully okay. I don't know about Hour of Promise, the green one. 4 and a green, search your library for up to 2 land cards and put them onto the battlefield tapped. If you control 3 or more deserts, create a 2/2 black zombie.
So, of course, the punchline
Oh,
being
sorry,
you can...
2/2 black zombies.
The punchline being, of course, you can go get 2 deserts. So if you already have one on the battlefield, then you will get your 4/4 worth of stats.
Sure.
But I don't know that that's a limited card. That seems more of a standard card, and it seems not like a great one.
I'm wondering about... I mean, anything's playable in Commander if you try hard enough.
Yes.
But 5 mana is a lot, but any 2 lands also seems fine.
Yeah, in Commander.
Hour of Glory seems fine. It's
That's the
3 and a
black
black for an instant. Exile target creature. And then there's extra, but just at that, exile target creature.
Well, sure.
No, yeah, this seems like good removal.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then the other part seems to be more geared towards
Standard. Or
Sure.
League.
Well, yeah, or
Or
league.
league.
If that creature was a god, its controller reveals his or her hand, and you exile all cards from it with the same name. So, I mean, even if they do have 2 or 3 gods in their deck, they aren't going to necessarily have them in hand.
Yeah, but that's a good point, Tams. It is still just 4 mana,
Kill
exile
something.
target creature.
And it's exile.
Yeah.
It's not even destroy or anything else. It just gets it right off the field.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Obviously specifically targeted towards gods, because
God
even this new
hates.
cycle in Hour, If they're not in the graveyard, they don't come back to your hand.
That's also the one that I wanted to talk about, the art, because I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast or not, but I remember looking at, who is it, Ronus, and saying, that's a big dude, like in Trial of Strength or whatever, and he is just absolutely getting owned by the Scorpion God. So, for scale, wow. Because you see one of these gods stomping on the city, and you're like, okay, whatever, it's a huge thing. But no, this guy is huge. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else in cards?
Not really.
There's
I mean, there's the Mercy,
Last
which
Word.
are all...
I wonder how much people are going to complain that the red one's not called Hazaret's Last something.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is the only one.
It is, but there's, good reason. She is fighting all the way.
Yes, she does not have mercy in her. So I think the problem is just that taking a turn off for the effects is not necessarily what you want to do. Like, they're all very powerful effects.
I don't know.
But, like, in green, the green create a token. If you're in blue, you're like, okay, bounce. You don't untap. I'm going to draw a card off my bounce spell. Because it's blue. Right? Or red is just like cut. So.
I mean.
Or if you're black, you're just like Bantu's Last Reckoning. We'll swap turns.
What I'm wondering about is, like, at least in green, what about all of the ramp creatures? Like, if you use your mana elves instead.
It's true.
Seems
green for a 5/4 seems still pretty, even with all of the corner cases you're talking about, seems pretty.
It's not
decent.
Really a corner case that they have a bounce spell, but
no, but not at. I mean, if this comes down on 2,
you're probably going to get at least one hit.
Yeah,
but then you have to take the next turn off.
Yeah. Well, you get to play a land, so you don't. It's great
if you don't already have a 3-drop.
Yeah,
that's true. So they'll.
I'm gonna play it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna play the green one.
It kind of depends on what type of format our is. Like, Steph and I were talking before the show a little bit about how aggressive we thought the format would be, because with Affliction, of course, it sort of penalizes your opponent for blocking because you still get damage through. So putting up 1/4s and 2/4s is actually really bad.
Now, but how much Afflict do we have? I haven't even looked.
There haven't been too many.
But we still have a bunch to go before we're...
Yeah,
that's true.
So it really kind of depends on the rest of the cards. Because if it is an aggressive format, then taking the turn off might not be worth it. But on the other hand, getting ahead might be worth it.
I honestly think that the format is going to slow down. And I understand that Afflict is an aggressive mechanic, but they have made Exert into a less aggressive mechanic by putting it on all sorts of utility creatures. And there's only going to be one pack of Amonkhet. So I think there's a potential for a real slowdown, especially with all of the interesting control-ish cards that we are seeing. And, like, I know that Hour of Glory is a rare, but what other removal is there? There's... I don't know. We're going to have to look thoroughly, and we're going to be doing that in our set review.
Yeah, this weekend set review time.
But it feels like this set might just slow down. Now, we don't have most of the commons and uncommons, and that's where we're really going to know.
In limited, yeah.
So. It's exciting so far.
Otherwise, I'm really digging the art.
Yeah.
That Sidewinder Naga looks real cool.
So that's pretty much it for spoilers. I mean, there's certainly more, but obviously you are more than welcome to go check it out in more detail online or wait for the set reviews to come out.
Yes, do check out our set review. It's going live all next week, and we're going to start working on it as soon as we have a full spoiler.
Yeah. So next up, we just wanted to touch a little bit on Ixalan, because they have released, some artwork, and they've talked a bit about the theme in publicly available, not actually spoiled information.
Yes.
And so the theme is pirates and dinosaurs, as I think we mentioned previously.
Yep.
So, the question, I mean, there's been people talking about it on the internet, obviously. They will do that. How do we feel about pirates and dinosaurs as a theme?
Well, I think it's kind of funny that people are stuck on this pirates and dinosaurs or pirates versus dinosaurs sort of aesthetic, when if you look at the art that they've spoiled, they have crafted a world that looks amazing just in that one picture. It's pirates exploring a forbidden jungle kind of thing where there are
maybe it's a lost world
tribal
kind of thing.
people riding dinosaurs who have tamed dinosaurs. I think that sounds really sweet.
Yeah, you said it reminded you of the road to El Dorado.
Yeah, or that sort of aesthetic. You know, I think that's where they're pulling their information or their inspiration is the Lost City of Gold and, you know, exploring the jungle, looking for treasure, which works really well with pirates, you know, looking for treasure. So, yeah, I'm fine with it. I think it looks cool.
I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to seeing something a little different, something less culturally significant by the looks of it, and just more out there, probably. I don't know. We'll see. But so far we haven't been given any indication of...
Or Razka, the City of Gold, is where they're going for Ixalan, so...
Yeah, I think it seems, like you said, Tams, more like they're drawing from general adventure tropes rather than specific, like, Mesoamerican culture.
Yeah.
So, I love pirates and dinosaurs. I don't care how cliched it is. I'm happy that they're doing something that's actually inventive, as opposed to a lot of the more recent sets where it's been heavily based on a particular culture, or it's a throwback to a previous set that they'd already visited. So I'm looking forward to exploring a new and hopefully unfamiliar plane.
And come on, Vraska's a pirate!
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with Vraska, because she was fairly well defined in the same way that Nissa was originally fairly well defined as an anti-hero, sort of almost antagonist, but not really a villain. She was an opponent to Jace in the duel deck, but she was mostly trying to look out for Golgari
their interests?
Interests on Ravnica when she was there. Or more her own interests, which is very, you know, black, without necessarily being evil. Also, she kind of got treated not too great before her spark ignited. There's all sorts of information if you go digging. But, yeah, I am very interested to see where they take her in particular.
So that's pretty much it for news. Next up is just, what have we been doing in Magic? So I guess chronologically, that starts with F&M.
Yes,
we
went to
drafted. You wrote about it.
I did write about it, that's right. Oh yeah, it was a little bit of a disappointment, but not because of my deck. My deck was sweet. It was just
can vouch his deck was sweet.
how my deck performed was a little bit of a disappointment. But you can go read about that on the Gathering Information website and blog.
I also drafted this week, and I didn't have to blog about it, so I can talk a little bit about it.
Yay!
I've picked one, the Archfiend of Ifnir.
For about the 20th time?
This is only the second time.
Oh, okay.
Break. Oh, no. This is the first time I've drafted him. I got him in my sealed pool.
You just have drafted blue-black cycling before?
Didn't you also draft him at...
Except I didn't draft blue-black cycling. Surprise!
At Sean's?
Maybe, but I gave him back, so I don't count it. You know?
Oh, okay.
I drafted black-red cycling.
Interesting.
Because there was a bunch. I got 2 Electrifies in a row, and I was like, oh, okay, sure, I guess this is open then. And yeah, and it was fine. The deck was okay. There were a lot of people drafting black, and...
There were. They were mostly stealing my removal.
Oh, my fan.
And then I went blue-green, so...
So it was okay. I played Step in round 1, and I'm spoiling this, so... Sorry.
Okay.
I got stomped. verily stomped.
It was sweet.
Mulligan to 5. Yeah, sure. I mulliganed to 5, I think, in both games, and never got past 2 drops. Didn't see any of my removal, and I had some sweet removal. It was just terrible.
Like 2 electrifies.
Yeah.
For example.
So it was dreadful.
Plus,
but...
didn't you have a trial of something or other?
Oh, yeah.
The black one?
Oh, yeah. Ambition? Yeah, I did. It was pretty good. But, yeah,
also had a
it didn't
trial.
go well, so...
I had 3 of them, in fact.
It was fun anyway, so... What do you do? And then we
Were you
all...
there? You weren't.
No, she wasn't
Okay.
there. And then we all cubed.
Yeah,
all
we did.
a legacy.
Oh,
it was a legacy cube, right?
Man.
Yes.
Our
Our local store owner has a legacy cube that he's put together that he will sometimes bring into the shop or sometimes draft at home with friends, and
It was
it's always fun.
Originally based on the Magic Online cubes several years ago,
Yeah.
and he's since made alterations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
it is a pretty sweet cube.
Why don't we start with me, because I have the least to report in this one. So I pack one picked one. What the heck was it? Ugin. So
Very good.
So I'm looking
choice.
at my pack, and there are some really solid, decent cards. And I have a tendency to draft decent, solid cube decks, which then get stomped because in any other draft, this would be an amazing deck. But in crazy Legacy Cube land, this is just not good. So I'm like, fine, I'm going to grab an Ugin. And I'm going to grab some ramp, and it's going to be great. And I wound up in Bant. And my initial...
That's not where you play Ugin.
No.
Not really.
I had lots of ramp, to be fair. But no. At first glance, I was like, this is a terrible deck. It's awful. It's horrible. Step looked at it later and was like, no, this is a really sweet deck.
I said sweet, meaning like it looks like a lot of fun, but yeah, there were a little rough edges.
Thanks.
No, it still looked solid.
So
like, it looked fine.
Played somebody first round, and they were...
Blue-black?
They were control, dot, control, dot, control, dot, control, dot.
Yes.
You're not doing anything. Forget it. Go home.
Yes, it was
Dot deck.
counterspell. Oh, you have a counterspell. I have a counterspell for your counterspell.
And it was miserable. I got to do nothing, and it was terrible. So after that, I was exhausted, and we had a player drop. So I dropped, and that was my night.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sad.
But you guys played all night.
We did.
It's true. I'll go next because mine's also not that exciting. I ended up drafting just straight blue-black, which was interesting. I was
green
actually...
for you?
No, surprising.
Wow.
I was initially, thought I would just go Grixis because there was some nice red going around the table, so I picked up a couple of cards and some fixing, but never quite got there.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of the same with, I think it was green. I don't even remember my deck that well. It was fine. I had the other half of the blue-black control dot deck. I had much fewer counter spells, but a lot more removal, I think. So, and then I had, literally 6 creatures.
You literally... I saw your creature curve, and it was like, nope.
I mean, to be fair, I also had, what's the blue-white, manland? The, for 5.
Celestial Colonnade?
Yes, I had that as one of my... It didn't count as my 6. Technically, that was 7.
Okay.
I had 3 morphs, which is fun. Because once your opponent sees one, they assume that's what it is, and then you
Sure,
go,
because how many
here's
morphs
another
are there
morph.
in a cube?
At least 3. So Hypnotic Spectre carried me to victory at least once.
It's not a bad card.
But yeah, I think I ended up going 1 and 2 just because the person who was drafting the Tams' first round opponent deck was just very close to me at the table, so we kind of ended up splitting decks. So he actually ended up not doing that great, and I ended up not doing that great, but the deck was fun. I don't usually risk going that creature light, despite all of my claims for being a control player, just because usually in limited, it's the wrong decision.
Yeah.
But it was very fun to just give it a try and see how it went.
Would you draft a similar deck again?
Oh, of course I would, especially in Cube.
Awesome.
The point is to draft nonsense decks, otherwise you're not doing it right.
Fair enough. And in that spirit, I first picked Sulfuric Vortex.
He's a jerk.
I am pretty much a jerk. We
played in round 1, I believe.
did.
Yeah.
There were 2 people at the table who were in red, and I was one of them. Everyone else, I think, sniped a few red cards and
Yeah.
then decided it wasn't open.
Yeah, that's what happened.
And then there was a red-white deck, like, literally across the table from me, so we were in the correct, seats for it. But I forced mono red hard off of Sulfuric Vortex.
As you do.
As you do. I thought about splashing, what was it, Ajani Vengeant, just because I've never gotten a chance to play him. But when I saw that I was actually mono red, I decided, nope, this is going to be my deck.
Plus your curve is high enough.
Yeah, I also had four drop creatures and an X spell, so that's like almost too many for a mono red deck. So I wanted to try to keep my curve as low as possible and not splash. I did pick up the Teetering Peaks. And what were my all-stars? I guess Devil's Play.
That card is surprisingly annoying. It messes up combat math.
Yeah, and when you are flooding out in mono red, it is your, like, Hail Mary. Because you're like, okay, well, at least there's a Devil's Play in there that I can do 7 to the face, and then...
What does it do?
Okay, so Devil's Play is X and a red for a sorcery. It deals X damage to target creature or player, and then you can flash it back for X red, red, red.
So you killed me with that, I believe, both games.
Yes.
That you won. The
Yes.
flashback specifically. You would use the initial side to either just nug me or remove one of my 6 creatures.
Yeah.
And then just go, okay, now we're just waiting, flashback. And the one time I had a counterspell, but the other 2...
It is the finisher that mono red needs in a cube situation, because it's like you get 2 shots at it. You get 2 bites of the apple. If they counter the first one, unless they somehow exile it, you get another shot,
Yeah.
And they have to have 2 counter spells. And then I just played 1-drop into 2-drop into 3 1-drops and won games that way. I had a lot of burn. I was actually concerned at the beginning that I wasn't going to get enough creatures because all I was picking up was burn spells, but they eventually came back around to me. I did have Perforos. He did some good work. I only got him live once, but it was enough, and just having him shock an opponent every time I played one of my 17 creatures. Yeah, I was running a lot of burn. I should have had a couple more creatures than that. But yeah. And then Sulfuric Vortex, of course, my opponent's life total is hopefully going to be lower than mine, so it can finish them off.
Plus they get hit first.
Or I just had, Flame Javelin and Lightning Bolt.
Yeah,
and
trust me, his burn was annoying.
It was very, very good.
But a good time was had. That cube's great.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had the league finals on Tuesday.
We did, and we all got to play.
Yay!
I didn't think I was going to.
Yeah, but then you did.
Yeah, because we had somebody drop, and then I just sort of snuck in.
Yeah, we had 2 people drop, actually.
Yeah,
So.
Okay. I did not do too well this league, but I had fun. So,
Which is the important part in league.
So I guess I'll start off because I was the least exciting. My deck, I didn't even go to the 6th week or the 5th week because I didn't have my deck together, and I knew I wasn't going to make top 8 or even bottom 8. So I was like, I have other things that I really need to do. But then I got in on a technicality, and so I just put back together my blue-black deck and also my green-white deck and played both in 1 round and then lost gloriously in 3 games, and it was a lot of fun. I feel like there was some closure there, too. Like, I actually finished the league, so
Yeah.
I feel good about that.
Good.
That's really good.
Tams?
Yeah, I had a great time this league. It was super fun. I never quite got past I'm not entirely sure because I had no real strongest anything, but I went and I played my opponent with my black-red deck, and it turned out to be almost a mirror match, except he was playing a black-blue deck of the exact same type, was a cycling Ifnir kind of thing. And so I lost the first game, and I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I don't know if I can beat his deck. His deck is a little bit better. So I'm just going to board into my other deck that I happen to have on hand here, which is running an Oketra and 2 Second Sons. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you know what? And he kind of looks at me, and I'm like, it's just for the shiggles. I'm just running my kooky second deck. He's like, okay. So the next game, I killed him with Second Son.
Nice.
It was amazing. It felt so good. Yeah, it took a little bit of setup, and it took a lot of careful computation of life versus creatures, and how do I do this, and okay, he keeps removing this, so now I have to be sure now I'm not going to gain the 6 life now because it's more important to do that later, and do I cycle? So it was really fun because I had to think really, really hard.
So how do you feel about alternate win conditions in general?
I'm not that crazy about them because they're so fragile in some ways. If that's what you're kind of counting on is something other than the normal to the face kind of win. But they're so fun when you... what is it? The IKEA gun?
Yeah.
When it goes off, it's glorious.
Yeah.
So my third game... Okay, so it was back and forth, and it was really a good game. And then we get down to... I've got Approach in my hand, and I've got... 7 mana on board. So in my hand is an Approach and a land. Mm-hmm. I have a creature and something else. And so as we're, playing, I'm thinking to myself, okay, now lately, I would just throw down my land because I've been playing like you, very lazy, like land for turn before I do anything else. And I'm like, no. Don't do that unless there's a reason to play your land first. It just gets sloppy. It gives a lot of information. It tells him that that's all you have in your hand. I'm like, I have enough to cast. He hasn't shown me any counter spells. So keep it in hand. Play it after you play. Tap 7. Go to play Second Son. He's like, Censor?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no! But I have the land in hand!
Feel bad.
It was still the right choice, sort of, because I had no reason to think, but it was so frustrating, but it was fun anyway. They were really good games, and I'm really glad that I got to Second Son somebody.
So my question is, what were you playing around there by not playing the land?
Nothing. I'm just trying to train myself to... I could have... Me having something in my hand... before I'm playing creatures could mean that I have some, because I could have swung with I was planning on swinging.
Okay.
And it could be a combat trick, it could be anything that makes him think. I'd rather play my land. The rule generally is you play it at the end of your combat step unless you have reason to drop it beforehand.
Okay.
There's no good reason to play your land first.
But you were tapping out there anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, also because... Who knows what kind of discard? He's playing black-blue. I don't know what I'm going to draw. I'd rather keep a land that I don't really need than draw my next card and be like, uh-oh, I'm going to keep this sweet, sweet combat trick and have him go, oh, discard. And,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I outsmarted myself a little bit. Mm-hmm. But it was fun, so...
So we were both in the consolation bracket because, We weren't top 8.
I missed my last week of matches completely, so yeah.
But Laura, on the other hand, where were you going into the tournament?
I might have been first.
You were in first.
So, well, the thing is, I'm really just proud with the way my deck played out because almost everybody in the top 8 were running at least one mythic. Many of them had multiples. Right. One of them had like 4 on-color mythics.
Wow.
He unfortunately was not able to make the top 8, and I say unfortunately very sarcastically. So I had Hepatra, mm-hmm. I had 2 of the Honored Hydras, mm-hmm. and I had just opened a Mouth to Feed 2 weeks before the top 8. Those were the only rares and or mythics I was running in my deck. The rest were commons and uncommons.
Those are pretty good.
They're good cards, but it's not like I had Glorybringer plus Hazoret, like somebody did, or, Glorybringer plus Hazoret plus Samut plus whatever the other one he had was.
Yeah.
So I felt pretty good just going in first. I did have a really good last week. I ended up going 4-0, whereas the other 2 very strong competitors ended up going like 0-4.
Nice.
So that certainly helped. But the only thing that having a higher position on the bracket means is that when you're playing, if you are the top seed, you get to choose if you're playing or drawing. You don't have to roll dice. So it just meant that I could choose to be on the play each time, which of course I did choose to do. My first match was against an opponent who I felt a little sorry for because he was supposed to be in the consolation bracket before 2 people from the top 8 dropped out.
Oh.
And he got bumped up, and suddenly he's playing against Laura, the evil top seed.
Oh.
So he took like a champ, which is not unusual for this particular opponent, and he was playing his first deck, which was his main deck, was just black-white zombies. He had 3 Lord of the Accursed. He had an Ifnir. His deck was quite solid. It was super synergistic. He had multiple Cradles of the Accursed.
That sounds good.
Things like that. So we just got into a grindy slugfest. I managed to kill or exile all of his lords plus his Ifnir. Thank you, Cartouche of Strength. And then we were basically top decking, which favors my deck quite heavily.
Right.
Just because I have such a high top end, and I have card draw spells. Or, well, a card draw spell, but it multiple cards it will get me. So it was pretty good. I ended up just top decking into 2 Honored Hydras and a Scale Behemoth, so that worked out well
just
for me.
that.
Yeah. That was all. And then game 2, he's like, well, I probably can't beat you in a grind fest, which I think is accurate. I'm going to side into my red-green aggro deck.
That seems wise.
I kept a hand with 2 lands, Hepatra, a green cartouche, a black cartouche, and 2 of the 4 mana 5/4s with haste.
Yep.
And stomped him pretty quickly. Because it was 2 mana, Hepatra. Okay, draw my 3rd land by this point because I was on the draw. Land, green cartouche, black cartouche, counter, attack you. He took it.
Make a snake for value.
Yeah, make a snake. Green cartouche, kill your thing, hit you in the face. Then I get to put a counter on this guy, and then I get a snake, and then I get to play my 5/4, put a counter, snake, stomp you. It was a quick game.
Sounds like.
So that went quite well. So then I was playing against the 4th seed, who is our friend Judge John, who has been complaining bitterly about this league the whole time until he opened a Liliana and traded it for a Ronus, which he then stomped me with.
Yeah.
We did go to 3.
That seems like a good trade.
Both of the games that I lost is because he played a Ronus basically on turn 3, both games.
That's very difficult to deal with.
My deck can beat it. I'm mainboarding 1 Edifice of Authority, and I have 2nd in my sideboard, which I did side in. But they're indestructible.
You know, I've been saying that the whole time, that Ronus is beatable, and Glorybringer is beatable, but they are still very good.
Oh, absolutely. They're still bumps. There's a reason it's a mythic.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I did beat him in the 2nd game because I drew when I needed to, but I did not in games 1 or 3, so I lost.
Oh, well.
So I came in, we'll call it 3rd/4th.
Okay.
Because we don't really count tiebreakers for the top 8, so basically me and whoever came also in 3rd/4th, the person who lost to the eventual winner in the finals, we share the same prizes, so it doesn't really matter.
That's nice.
So then the 2 people who ended up playing in the finals were Judge John and store owner Sean. And store owner Sean won the whole league.
Sean, good for you.
Yeah.
Which is great, because I don't think has won, because he usually drops himself out of the top 8.
Yeah. It's nice to see him get to play.
Yeah, and he often uses League as an excuse to make strange and interesting decks that aren't necessarily the best, but are fun to play.
Because he is going to drop himself out of prizes anyway.
Right, but now that he's decided to play, and he got to, take down the league, good for him.
Sean is a good deck builder.
Oh, he's a very good player. He has also decided to, as the store owner, roll his prizes into the next league.
So we all get better prizes next time.
So, yeah, that's also going to be pretty sweet.
That's
yeah.
Awesome.
So overall, great experience this time. And I think it was reflected in the fact that very few people dropped out.
Yeah, usually we have 8 people left for the top 8 tournament.
Yeah.
This time there were 16 people there.
Yeah, and when a couple people dropped out, there were still people underneath the constellation bracket who were happy to show up.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
It felt really good to be a part of. I can't wait for the next one. And if any of our listeners are interested who aren't already in the league, you should maybe come out and check it out. Yeah. Because it is a great way to play a lot of Magic for not that much money in a friendly competitive environment. It's like a pre-release almost, in that it's not full of spikes so much as just people who love playing the game.
Yeah, and as Sean describes it, at worst, you just get yourself a sealed event. Come out for the opening tournament, then you can drop if you want. If there are spaces for people who are willing to do that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to be in the league, you should probably play in the league.
Yeah.
It is Tuesdays at the Gamers Emporium.
At least it has been. Hopefully it will be the same.
Right. It might change for the next one. I think it'll probably stay the same.
It's been Tuesdays forever.
But it'll probably be 4 weeks from now, I'm guessing, something like that.
It's coming up pretty quick.
4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Because it'll be basically after... 2 weeks after release, I think, is when it starts. So, anyway, if you're interested, check that out.
Yeah.
And we are just over an hour here.
So I guess we're gonna save our other topics for.
I guess so. Just to wrap things up, how about you tell us what you've been doing on Miko, guys?
What do we want to talk about? We have a draft video up so yesterday when you're listening to this. In which we wrap up Amonkhet by losing spectacularly. You should check it out.
But the three of us get to hang out and do stuff, so that was fun.
We do. And also, recently, I don't know if I talked about it last week, we did the Battle of the Plains sealed events.
Did we talk about it last week?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah,
but
that's up too.
Those were also a lot of fun. So, haven't been doing much else than that, although... I do have a Momir deck for you, which we should go and, play some of.
What do you mean a Momir deck? Don't you just mean all Momir decks are the Momir decks?
Yes.
But he has one for my account, so that all the people can play together.
That's right. We can have a 3-person Momir battle.
Can we?
No.
Oh.
It would be fun, though.
We could set up brackets, I guess.
I mean, they do... What they really need on Magic Online is freeform 4-player, so that we can... maybe do 4-player Momir with, I don't know, we'll get John or Garrett or whoever into it, but that would be fun.
That would be super fun. So, yeah.
Not much else to talk about other than the set review coming up. It'll be next week. So, and then next week I'm going to have to figure out what to do for the podcast because you guys are going away.
We're out of town.
Yeah, not next week. The week after.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks.
Oh, that's right. 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now, Tams and I will not be in this province, and we will be very busy and also several time zones away, so
I will have to figure out what to do. Mm-hmm. I'm sure I'm up to the task.
I think you are.
But for now, we're going to call that a podcast. So thank you very much for listening. If you have enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends. Please give us the old 5 stars on iTunes if you think we are worthy. We know that coming up to Hour of Devastation, we hope to not be one of the worthy, but...
Insert many set-related puns here.
Yeah, all right. I'm done. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.